when we're determining the value of a property, like the listing price is based on, other properties that have sold, market trends, all that good stuff, right? So it is scientific. We're just not picking a number, but it still is dependent on the reception in the market, meaning how do the buyers feel about it, right? Because the buyers are actually the people that determine the market. It isn't the sellers that determine the market. So like the analogy that I used previously about the throwing fish food into like a fish pond, and all the little fish come up and it's like, it looks like, the water just erupts and there are fish all over the place. But before then, the water was perfectly smooth, right? And then you throw food in there and it's like, bleh! So the real estate market's exactly like that. In the fact that there can be no listings and the market is fine. The water is calm. It's just that the buyers are like, well, shucks, I really wish there was something to buy. I'm not going to die because I can't buy real estate. I can't buy a house. I'm not going to die. We'll get something figured out. And then when one listing gets put on the market, it's insane. I mean, it's insanity. We saw that from 2020. Well, yeah, it's about 2019 to 2022. So there's a 3-year period in there where the inventory was a lot lower than the buyer demand. Some of the factors that were driving that were like COVID, but basically just people wanting to get out of the cities. So they were moving up here and we couldn't put houses on the market fast enough. I mean, there were lots of times that we would have a house that's on the market at like 5 minutes and we're getting sight unseen offers. That's not an exaggeration. I mean, as soon as it hits the MLS, I'll get like a text like ding, that's an agent like just wrote you an offer on your new listing at 123 ABC Street. It's like, geez, like it's been on the market for 2 minutes, so I text them back. It's like, I assume it's sight unseen. They're like, yeah, it's sight unseen, 25,000 over asking, no inspection contingency, no appraisal contingency, all cash, whatever. Like, okay. And that's as a result of having the inventory be so low. The buyer demand sets the pace of the market. Now, buyer demand in this particular market is significantly lower. It's starting to warm up, but it's significantly lower. And that's driven by affordability. It just is not really that affordable to buy a house right now in comparison to years past. In America, we have really short memories when it comes to like certain things and then very long memories when it comes to other things. So like where we have a really long memory is that people keep saying they're like, real estate is so expensive. And it's like, well, it is. And it's like, I mean, in compared to what? And they're like, well, compared to 5 years ago. It's like, well, yeah, that was 5 years ago. Like that market's gone. And they're like, yeah, well, just saying, okay, we have to deal with today's market. And so as a result, though, what's happening is that the buyers are saying, well, we think that it's too expensive. And so we're not going to buy anything. There are people out there that flat can't afford to buy a house. I mean, so I'm not discounting that either. Like they just can't buy one. But the reason I'm going so deep into this is just so that you guys have an understanding, and that anybody that watches this video has an understanding too, that the listing price, no matter how scientific, is like an extremely highly educated guess. Because the buyers control the market. If a buyer, offers X amount of dollars or whatever, and you haven't had any offers, that might be the market actually saying this is how much the house is worth. We may have missed the mark on pricing the property because the market conditions can change and that sort of thing. So like in this particular example that we were discussing, of course, for confidentiality reasons, we're not mentioning particulars. We have a buyer that asked for additional money off the inspection notice on top of already getting a fairly significant discount on the offer price, right? So I'll just make numbers up. So again, protecting confidentiality. So they offered from $750, they offered $730, right? So there's $20,000. So the seller has perceived that they've already given a $20,000 discount. But have they? I mean, the list price is like educated guessing. Anybody that says that they can do a better job pricing a property is full of it's just educated guessing, because I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell what's going to happen in the market the next day. I can tell what's happening in the market right now, but not tomorrow. So seller perceives that they gave a $20,000 discount. Then the buyer does the inspection. And then they say, well, I want an additional $25,000 because of inspection items that we found. Now, if they're legitimate inspection items, that's a totally different deal. But like in this particular case, it's a lot of made up stuff, that they're like, there's a switch that's wired incorrectly, like I don't know if that really plays into the $25,000, because that's like if you get an electrician out there, that's like a $20 fix. They're going to switch a couple of wires around. When they did the inspection notice, they put in a lot of stuff that was sort of like just filler. So, which again, from the standpoint of an educated real estate agent and savvy sellers, actually is not a smart move. Okay. So, less is more. But my point with this is that if you get a reduction on the price up front, very, very, very difficult to get anything on the inspection later, right? So from the buyer's standpoint, they already got a $20,000 price reduction, right? Now they're coming back and they want $25,000 in repairs on not really legitimate repair items, right? So if they're legitimate repair items, that's a different story, but what they're trying to do is renegotiate the price. We see that a lot with inspections, is that they use it as an opportunity to renegotiate the price. And that is not what the inspection is intended for. So, and that's the main point that I want to make with this particular video, is that, that's not what the inspection is for. The inspection is to identify health and safety concerns, things with the property, and then for them to determine, do I actually want to buy this house, right? And now if they're saying, I do not want to buy this house, yeah, sure, give the seller an opportunity to remedy all that stuff, because they might be in a position to do that, given the current deal. But the expectation that a buyer is going to be able to come in and like kind of rough up the seller is, our market's not amazing, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. So we're not back to 2008, to 2014. When if you got an offer on a house, like, you were just excited, it's like we got an offer, we're taking it, it's like, what's 50% of ask? Like, we can afford it. We can take that hit. We're taking it. That's how it was back then. It's not that type of market now. So.